Hello, my name is Swiss Bianco. In this video we will have a look at a relative new, exciting product from Geisler Defense, a relative new company in the gun business. And this is the boxing. It's a bit unusual shape of a box. Here we have the website geislerdefense80.com, and inside we have the exciting parts. It's a 80% frame made in Israel and then imported to USA. Typical Glock Gen 1 to 3 style affair, but it has quite so many really interesting features. That's part of the reason why I make that video. First we're gonna look a bit at the item and then we compare it with the typical competition. So what we have here is basically 80% frame, which is legal in most or almost any state in USA. Check your law, your local laws of course. Here in Georgia, no problem at all. The item is the frame, and it comes with a clear see-through, really well-made jig. So the ones from you that know how the 80% build is, we have basically the holes for drill, the jig parts for drill the holes, and we see those are relative tall up, so you have a good guide there. They say the jig is reusable. They may sell the frame alone as well. This was the complete kit that you need to get to make it happen. Also it shows you the parts where you need to grind off the usual parts as well. The other side is basically mirrored. We see nice Geisler Defense, and here we see here, and here we have the three nuts, the holes for the nuts. So the item comes together with those screws here and the bolts and the nuts, and of course the drill, so you can drill the thing. And then as it gets delivered, of course all is in the jig, so the frame is directly in the jig as well. And there in the hollow part of the grip where the magazine would be, there is the bag with the small parts that we have here. There is no paperwork, etc. Online you see a video how to drill it and assemble and all that. I can't show that here, otherwise the snowflakes from YouTube gonna cry, and we don't want to have that. So anyways, nice jig, durable jig, and we have the small parts for the jig as I did show. Then we have a locking block part here, in this case black anodized or coated. It seems to be a rather good tough coating on it, and we see there already that angle here towards the muzzle and then a cutout here. So that is quite likely that you have less problems with dirt and maybe possibly sand. Maybe like this we see it a bit better there. So towards the muzzle this, and then the cutout there. Because the item is made in Israel and supposedly tested by Special Forces Schlag mich tot item people and units and what else that was to be added there. So I think it can't hurt anything. It's just that angle and that cutout there. So that's a nice feature. A nice finish on it too. We have here the locking part and the holes of course for the pins. Then the item has two heat treated pins for the small parts. And then we have a rather unique system. We have two parts, separate parts for the rear slide rails. it's not connected like the usual design. It's 2 parts, so that works for sure too. The quality looks rather nice as well, and the only part that I don't like is that that has a silvery shiny color and is not black. It would be nice to have such a black finish on it. Tactical, that isn't tactical with that silvery shiny finish, even as you only see a little percentage of it once it's built up. But I'm gonna do that with Brownell's Alumahide too, so that is not a problem at all. Then as we come to the frame itself, that's where the magic starts. What we have here is for the first time ever a Glock 45 model in 80%. So basically a Glock 19 slide with a Glock 17 frame. So you have up to 17 round flush fit magazine on a compact Glock 19 slide. Of course you can build this frame kit also in 40 Smith & Wesson if you want, or 365 SIG. That would be possible as well. So far from Glock there isn't anything like that, and that is rather exciting because there isn't anything like that. So as we look from top, we have the usual parts that need to be done for have it 100%. We have this part here that needs to be removed, and here that long part and that long part, and then of course as we look from front, that here needs to be cut out too. We have a bit of line. Hopefully the camera see that. Basically like the competition has a bit of line there, how much it needs to get out. Then that is working. What we have on the back side to say is below there is a hole, a slot, and same on the other side, and there the relative long parts go into it. So it has quite a tight fit, and then of course we have the hole for the pin as usual. No problem there. And as we look at the item, the trigger guard is relative similar to a Glock. So Glock holsters, they say, can be used. What we have as a possible negative is that that part here and on the other side is a bit less thick as the trigger guard, which could lead problems with locking in certain Kydex holsters. We're gonna see, but they say it works with all Glock holsters, or pretty much all, so we're gonna see. Maybe the screws need to be adjusted for the tension, and we see that. Then let's start from the front. We have a typical rail here, so you can mount your lights and lasers, whatever you want. Empty plate there, steel plate, because it's 80%. Then we have that trigger guard with a bit of serrations, and the bottom part is smooth. We have a nice undercut here. Then we have on top some serrated and coarse parts as well. If you some prefer to put the fingers there, so that is already stippled. Then of course the take apart lever slot. Then we have here the magazine slot, the magazine lock slot there. There you need to look what kind of magazine lock you're gonna put into it, which length, which you prefer, because it's rather rounded off and all that. If you go with the extended one, quite likely that sticks out too much, but we gonna see as we build that. Then the front part of the frame has some stippling in the middle, and then some steps on the side. Unfortunately the stippling is not very aggressive, or not aggressive at all. You need to see if that works for you or if that is too smooth. Same on the sides here, we have a bit stippling too. Unfortunately nothing up here. Then we see here Geisler integrated. We have a bit of lip here that is relative nice. No, not much of a magazine funnel there. Maybe one day there are aftermarket parts that we can add. And on the back side we have basically the same as on the front. The stippled part in the middle and then that angled cut on the side. And we have a hole for a lanyard that is needed because for military law enforcement use it's always good to leash up the thing. There we have the inside view, and it's maybe not easy to see. There is a bit of flashing from the polymer that needs to be trimmed. Not bad or a problem at all, just saying that was the only flaw that I saw on that frame. And yeah, if we look, it's all well rounded off, so all that glocky feel of Glock and P80 competition is completely gone. Relative nice. The item feels good in the hand. I have rather big hands, so with the 17 size we can get all hands on it. We have here that lip part here, so that is really nice too. Has a good style of a beaver tail, not too big and not too small, so nice also rounded off. We see here nice rounded off, so it's not a square thing that hits you. So really nice and well done. So all in all, I'm pretty impressed for how it is. As best as I know, that is the only imported Glock style 80% frame so far in USA. As I said, made in Israel. They call it the model 1917. That is this one here, and according to the website you can get it in black, desert brown, grey and blue. I only saw the black one listed. I did not even see pictures say of that blue one. I was a bit curious how that's gonna look. But the sad thing is, and I hope Geisler Defense see that, we need that item in olive green for the US market for sure. Olive green is really important, and the desert brown, grey and yeah, whoever gonna use blue, that is all good and right, especially the black, but we need it in olive green as well. So that about that. As we compare it with a regular Glock 45 here, we see it's about in a similar size like this one. It's a bit tough to put on it, but you get the idea. So we have not a Glock 19 length of the frame. We use a 17 size with a full size magazine. That is really nice. So that much about the frame. As we look at the jig there, since the thing has the holes and the parts for the nuts, so you can actually screw it together, and then it stands on all those pegs around. That is for sure the way better jig than the typical competition that we all know about. This is a typical example, so it has dimples that go together and then it snaps just right in like this. So there are no holes for screws or something. It for sure works with that snappy thing, but the quality of that jig is not near as good as this one. Then for the small parts, are by the typical competition a bit different too. As we see here, the different parts for the locking part. We see the polymer 80 has just a silver finish. Again, you see part of it in the build, so I always spray paint it with the Aluma hide in black. but it's pretty much the same setup there, also with the holes for the pins and all that. Then, as we look at the plates, the parts for the slide rails on the frame towards the shooter's hand, we have the usual polymer 80 design that is together as one piece with that folded part. So this is new, as that goes into the frame and is two separate parts. The shininess of the finish is about the same, so that should be changed. And finally, of course, we're gonna look at the frame comparison itself. This is a polymer 80 in Glock 19 size, so the length is a little bit shorter. Don't look at that too much, but we see on the back side it's rather rounded the same way there. The front part here is way more rounded than by the polymer 80. So what we have to say, by polymer 80 you have way more stippling on it. You could always stipple the whole grip or parts of it. That's quite likely what I'm gonna do, to stipple the rear part and the front part. But we see, it's a test. And we also see that we have a more rounded, more fuller beaver tail compared to the polymer 80. The undercut here is about the same. It's just the optical illusion that goes here that far down. Then we have that but ugly, unusual trigger guard that unfortunately doesn't fit in Glock holsters. That was a complete failure to design it like that. So way better by Geisler. And then we have the stipple part over here for your finger. By polymer 80 it is completely smooth. And yeah, the magwell, I would say it's about in a similar fashion. So that is about how that is. So which one is better for you is hard to say, but I hope this video gave you some points and informations. So far the Geisler is only available as a Glock 45 style, so no full-size slide and no compact frame, but I'm sure they're gonna improve and add different models. Because the thing is imported from Israel, there may be a problem with our current president and his people, that they may ban importing such items. Who knows? I'm just saying, as always, get the item as you can and don't regret it later on, as everything is banned or possibly more complex or complicated. So again, 80% items here in USA are legal, and it's according to the Constitution. Americans have built their firearms from parts or from scratch forever, since USA it started, and that is completely legal as long as you don't sell it or make a profit on it. That all works, and this is a great new example of a Glock style firearm that I wanted to test out, especially since the Glock 45 style wasn't around yet at all. So next is to fix it up to 100% and put some parts in it, quite likely a flat face trigger from polymer 80 that I want to try out. Quite likely a PSA dagger slide assembly gonna go on it, and at least for test now, and quite likely then later on some made in Israel night sights. Once the build is tested, I'm gonna make an update video, and then later on, quite likely towards Black Friday, as the best gun deals are around in USA, I'm gonna get the final upper parts, and then I'm gonna make a video on the finish the product and how it did fit in the different holsters and parts and all that at all. Keep in mind, it is what it is, means it is only as good as the parts that you use. If you use cheap parts, parts that may not work, like those smoothbore bottles that I got for Glock 17, you gonna end with a rather bad product. If you would use a Glock 19 slide assembly Gen 3, then you would get the most top quality of the item, but of course the price would be really expensive as well. So I'm gonna do a bit of mix and test it, and then I give you an update. The PSA dagger uppers are really good. I have a couple of them and they never failed. So far that is all good. But it depends on what you use to get the quality out of it. You pay for what you get. So that much about Geisler Defense, the brand new 80% Glock 45 clone.